Hello everybody, or ciao a tutti in Italian. My name is Enrico Murru. I'm a Salesforce MVP, and I'm also a solution architect at Web Results. Web Results is the most amazing Salesforce Italian partner. My boss is here. Sorry for my voice, because yesterday I partied hard. I went bed at 9. Okay, so this is an Italian show. Let's start. First of all, what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how Salesforce and Google Chrome extensions can be a perfect match together. And the reason of this session is to show you that if you have an even small idea, you can leverage your creativity with Salesforce and Chrome extensions to provide to your customers, to your users, to your friends, to your Ohana, the best experience ever. So you can enhance their life. I'm not kidding. Why Salesforce? I started working with Salesforce in Web Results about 9 years ago, and since then a lot have changed, both on my career and on the platform, you know. Just a question, how many developers are here? Okay. Italian developers? So I have to speak, another one there. I have to speak English. Okay, I can say that at this moment, Salesforce is the love of my life. Please don't tell my wife, she could be jealous. Let's go on. So, why Chrome extensions and Salesforce together? The first reason is that everyone loves Google Chrome, at least I do. So I'm going to go with Google extensions. Okay, of course, this is not the main reason. The other reason is that there are two reasons linked together. The first is that the latest Chrome extensions versions are always supported by Salesforce. And on the other hand, Chrome updates quite seamlessly, automatically. Sometimes you just have to press a button. And this means that you always run on the most secure software live. Another important thing is that Chrome has an amazing, a huge market share. You can see from this pie chart, it's been taken 1 month ago about, and you can see if you sum up all the Chrome parts, it's about 50%. This means that what you create will be used potentially by a great amount of users. The other part is the most practical, pragmatic part is that using extensions, you actually provide more features to your users in their daily net surfing. You have, for example, the simple button. You click the button of the extension, you get a pop-up, and you can provide more data from your own services, from other services, and so on. You have a custom user experience, but the most beautiful part that I like about Chrome extensions is the fact that you can, I call them the augmented reality side. You can inject script and HTML to provide a different user experience given a site. So you can take Salesforce and provide and inject some stuff and make Salesforce more cooler than it is. So you can provide more features. Let's go on. And why exactly Chrome extensions? Some of you already know me, already know my extension. I built the organizer for Salesforce Chrome extension. I call it killing Chrome extension. Killing, maybe it's too much, because when you talk about killing apps, you have millions of users. But I'm a small Italian guy, and having 5,000 people using the extension, for me, it's a real pride. I have 78 5-star votes. I promise, these are not all my friends. It's used in more than 120 countries. It's free for all. I only accept voluntary donations because I develop it in my free time. And this point is really important. Salesforce pushed the Ohana sentiment, the Ohana concept. And I see this sentiment in while developing my extension. The community is really cool. This is my #1 fan. He's Tom Blaymeyer from UK, from London. And they always give me a way to improve my extension, to enhance it, bug fixes, and so on. It can become viral in somehow. Another thing is that surrounding the extension, I had to build a support site. It's a simple HTML static site where I put all the FAQs and I try to keep it always updated. And also a simple CRM. It's a simple developer org where the community can file a case with bugs, enhancements, new features, and so on. And a lot of features I've developed comes directly from, maybe the majority of the features comes directly from suggestions. And finally, I'm really proud of this. 2 weeks ago maybe 3 weeks ago, the Chrome extension has been officially listed on App Exchange. And again, I am a small Italian guy, and having all this stuff is, for me, incredible. I also live in a small island, so it's crazy. So what's inside? Before going on in the code, in the example extension I've built for this presentation, I want to show you the reason behind making a Chrome extension. These are simple features that you can find on the organizer. The first one is common. There are a lot other great extensions that do this. Sorry for my English. For example, there's ForceCom login, really used. But I tried to create an extension shaped around me. So this is how I see the user credential storage. Nothing more to say. The second part is the reason behind why I developed the organizer. So when you are a consultant, you use a lot of orgs with different customers. It's difficult to remember when you have, for example, 50 tabs opened, where I am now, or where I have to go. It's incredible, but your mind will automatically link a color to an org, so you don't make mistake anymore. And this is really cool. And this is what I said, the small feature that can change your working life. The other part is other stuff that's inside the organizer. This is the augmented reality part. So I inject the code inside each Salesforce tab you have open, and you have like a super console, a super quick console, I call it, where you have query builder, execute anonymous, login as, and a lot of stuff. But in the next months, I don't know when because it's still in development. Organizer, with a collaboration with my friend Kim Verheyden from EF Switzerland. He has developed a tool for code analysis and code quality checking. And we'll link Organizer with the org analyzer to actually make code analysis from within the organizer. And it's really good stuff, I promise. You will see next in the next months. So let's start. What's a Chrome extension? A Chrome extension is just, you can think of it as it's late, as a static HTML site with a lot of JavaScript, injected JavaScript from the browser, so you have Chrome APIs. You have different parts of the extension. You have, as I said, the pop-up page. This is the page, the main page where you click on the icon of the extension, you open this page, and you have, in this case, the organizer, you have the list of the orgs you can log in. We have the options page. This is the page where you actually set the extension. For example, in the organizer, you have the API level. You can set up the API version you want to use in your calls. The content script is the part related to the augmented reality part. It is to say, Chrome injects organizer or your extension scripts inside the page you have opened in your browser. It's like sandboxed because From a content script, you cannot see the whole browser, so you have limits in your APIs. That's why you need the background script. The background script is like a listener, a JavaScript listener on the background that lies behind everything, that can accept messages from all the other parts of the extension and can actually respond. The background script sees everything it's happening. So if you, from a content script, if you need, for example, a list of open tabs, you cannot watch this list from the content script. You have to send a message to the background script. The background script can see what's happening everywhere, and then the background script can respond back to the content script, and now the content script has this information. Okay, this is a silly example, but it is what actually happens. So you have limited APIs from the content script. Let's go on. Okay, this is the extension I have developed for this session. It's called the Amazing Salesforce Chrome extension. You can download freely from here. The title, because it's really amazing. Now we'll see its features. Let's get to the okay. We have these smiley faces. I'm not good in graphics, so please, I beg your pardon. I'm not good. So this icon, I took this icon from, I believe, Google. I don't know which icon it is. So if you click this icon, of course, sorry. The extension is listed on the Chrome Store, so you can download it to test it out. But also, you can download the whole code. So by clicking on the smiley faces, this part of the extension is needed only to get a list of users you want to log in, just like the organizer, but using only OAuth. I don't want to go deep into how OAuth works because there's plenty of stuff there. Out there, but you simply, now we'll see how this works. We will use the options page to actually start the OAuth process. So we click in this icon, this link. Now we can choose if it's sandbox production. We may add also custom URLs. Let's type add another user. We are redirected to Salesforce. I'm using here the organizer to actually log into this org. This is not part of this extension, of course. Now, do you want to allow access? Perfect. Yes, I do. And now we have a new listing here. This means that now the amazing Salesforce Chrome extension can actually make calls to Salesforce using this user session ID. We can add another user just to have a bigger list. 1 second. And here it is. Now we can test a call. We can test a specific user. For example, this is a call to the get user info. It's a simple HTTP REST call. Or we can refresh this. You will see the issue at the changes once I click this. Maybe? Okay, yes, it changes. Okay, and now if you open the icon, you will see there are 2 listings. And now you can log in whenever you want. So let's open the demo 01. And okay, we are in. So just simple. It's really simple. We just took session ID from the OAuth. Now we have a session ID that we can use almost forever. Let's say forever. And the other feature of this extension is related to the augmented reality part. So now we have seen that we have a part of the extension that actually makes login. Now we will see what the extension can do to leverage the site, the Salesforce site. You can see there's a smiley face. Why this smiley face? Because we are inside Salesforce object page. What does this do? If you double-click, it will open a new page where you have all the fields of your object. Okay, it's simple. There are a lot of extensions that does this, but there's one feature that's actually useful. That is to say, you can navigate through objects. And I'm going to add this feature to the organizer as well. So you can jump, for example, I have the profile, click the profile ID, and I believe there's something like listing. No, I don't remember. Anyway, you can jump over and over and over and over and over. As you can see, the CSS is a Lightning Design System because again, embedding graphics using SLDS makes you happier and makes you feel a real developer. Okay, so let's get back to the slides. Okay, this is a simple slide that it's used to say that actually you can download the whole repository. You can enable developer mode on Chrome. It's really easy. You have just to click one checkbox inside this Chrome page. And the only thing you have to do to make your own amazing Salesforce Chrome extension is to create a connected app. And I don't want to go on details about this because there's a lot of stuff out there, or if you want more details, you can contact me. I'm really happy to help you. I will also publish some blog posts about this session. And just a sneak peek, this is the connected app you have to configure in your Salesforce org. This will be used to actually make the user aware that your extension, your own amazing Salesforce Chrome extension, wants to use certain feature of Salesforce. That is to say, session IDs, refresh token, and so on. The only configuration you have to do to use I repeat, this is a thing that you do only once. It's just to take the consumer key you see here and jump back to the now I show you the code. By the way, there's the constants file. You have to take this consumer key and replace here. Now I'm gonna go into details in the code, but this is the only configuration you have to do to make your own extension work. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, this is the code structure, the folder structure. We have some files in the root. We have HTML files. As I said, Chrome extension are HTML sites. But we have also the manifest.json file. The manifest, now we're going to see this. The manifest.json file is the main file that actually put all together and configures the building blocks of your extension. Then we have two folders, subfolders, CSS and IMG, and three subfolders. CSS, IMG, and libs. Of course, CSS contains CSSs, IMG images, and libs JavaScript files. This is not the perfect structure. I'm not the perfect coder, but in my mind, this was a good way to store files. The vendor subdirectories are used to put the code, to put Java libraries that you are not actually responsible to maintain or to develop. In fact, we have jQuery and DSL/DS. So we can jump in this Sublime. Is it readable? Okay. So first part. Manifest.json file. We have a first part with some nodes that are actually used to configure name, description, information, the version part. The version part is really important. When you publish your extension on the Chrome Web Store, maybe if you are not expert, you will make a lot of publication. That is to say that you have every time, you need to actually switch version every time you publish. So I suggest you to use always minor version till you have a consistent application. Otherwise, you will have a production version with incredible version number, 1,000 dot, 1 million dot, and so on. Just a suggestion. The other node, really important node, is the permissions. This node actually tells you what the extension can actually do inside your extension, because beside your browser, sorry, because you are saying, okay, the amazing Salesforce Chrome extension can open tabs, can access the storage. We use the storage to actually save the OAuth data, because we grabbed a session ID and we want to use that session ID in the future, so we have to store it. We want to access cookies. Why cookies? Okay. 2 minutes, I will say to you. Why cookies? The smiley face on your page in the Salesforce object, in the standard Salesforce object page, actually needs a session ID, because it makes REST APIs to describe the object and get and populate the table with all the fields. But that session ID is not necessarily the session ID that came from the OAuth process. because there's no reason that I want to store every. It's difficult to explain in English. There's no reason why you have to store. You have to store a user. You have to authenticate a user, and on the other side, you want to use the smiley faces. Maybe you want to use the smiley faces, but you have logged in production, and you don't want the amazing Salesforce Chrome extension to store anything because it's not a standard, an official product for your company, and your company doesn't want to use this. Okay. This way, you need a way to get a valid session ID to make a REST API call. How do you do this? You simply get from the cookies. Salesforce puts a lot of cookies in your browser, and you actually have to get all the cookies and check which is the session ID you want to use, because there's not only a session ID. There are many session IDs. One with the salesforce.com domain, one with the force.com domain, one with the lightning.force.com domain. It's crazy. I got one. It took me 1 month to understand how to make it work. And this small piece, really important piece of the organizer, it's here. So you can. Sorry. Okay. But okay. So yeah. So you can watch this code and see how it works. The other node, there are other two values that are the domains where you want your extension make call. It's bad English, absolutely bad English. So these are the domains where you want to make calls. When we work with Salesforce, these are the kind of domains that we know we are going to make callouts because we are going to make API REST calls or SOAP calls or whatever you want. The web accessible. I'm really, really sorry. I'm the most unpolite presenter in the world. Okay, sorry. The other node is the web accessible resources. We have the Swiss knife, that's the page with the listings of all the fields, and the IMG. This is the part that actually tells that you want to use specific parts of the extension inside a content script, so inside the injected part of your extension. Then there's the browser action. This is where you define the button, icons, content scripts. This is the script that are run in specific domains, so in specific tabs, and that provide the augmented reality site. Then there's the background that runs on the bottom, and finally the options page. So we have 70 minutes, so I can go on with the code. First, this is the constants.js file. What does it mean? It has constants, so nothing special. We can go on the options page. How is made the options page? We can jump back here. You can access the options page from right here. And the options page is a simple page. We have a header, a button there, a table here. Of course, this table is completely dynamic. But also, this page is used to receive data from the final part of the out process. Okay, so this means that in some time when you at the end of the authorization process, the URL will have certain parameters, and the fact that these parameters are here changes the behavior of the page. We can jump to the options page, to the options.js part. Okay, this is the start of the. This is what's been executed at the beginning when the page loads. This big function, really bad naming convention, actually gets, okay, do we have the parameters? Yes, we have. Perfect. Now, take the parameters and store them in the local storage. Don't we have parameters? Perfect. Then we go on. We just open from here. You can see this is the local storage. We get from the local storage all the refresh token we have. We just create a table. Okay, this is, for the purist of code, this is a bad way to create stuff in jQuery because there's a lot of string data. But I want to show you what happens in this function, just to make it clear. Go to definition. Okay. So we just, as you can see, we just get the parameters from the URL. If we have the code, this code that comes from Salesforce used to make this post request, and this post request is just a way to get a valid session ID. Now we have a valid session ID in the success callback. But if we don't have code, we just get back and we returns false. False means no data, there's no out data. You can proceed to show all the details of your users. I wanted to go into details because yesterday I had my first, but this is the first, yesterday was the second session, and someone asked me, is it rocket science? And I show him, no, it's not rocket science. It's just HTML, it's jQuery, it's really simple. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to develop this stuff. Okay, you may say there are libraries that actually make out easier, and I say you are right. This is not the best way because there's not a lot of error handling, but doing this, you actually understand what you're doing. And maybe in the next release, you will use a library that does all of this, but now I know how it works. So I encourage you to always write code, a lot of code. You learn a lot. Okay, it's 30 minutes. We can go on. The pop-up page is really similar. In fact, indeed, you can see it's just a list of users that I want to log in. Which is the difference? Here we have the test and refresh button. Here we just have a login button. Now let's see how the code works. So here it is. Okay. The page simply loads, again, the refresh tokens from the local storage, creates a table. I'm going on and on. Creates a table, sorts this, create all the rows, and finally add, this is the button, the login button. The login button, again, it's not rocket science. It just takes the session ID again from the local storage because it's asynchronous and you can run different instances of the browser. And maybe in one of the instances you have just refreshed a token. So if you use the token, it's a mess, I know. It can happen that the local storage changes over time, and also in seconds can change. So it's a good way, it's a good practice to actually always load again when you know you are doing something. Guys, sorry. I'm just in a bad note. Anyway, I got the fresh token, and what I do with this refresh token, I just go in this URL. This is the URL that we use to actually validate a session ID, to go inside the org, and to make the user log it in. So it's not rocket science. But are we sure the session ID is okay? Because session ID expires over time. This way, we just make a get user info call. It's a simple REST API call. And if we get a 401, a 403 error, it means that the session ID has expired. And we have to open to make a refresh token call. That is to say, we want to say Salesforce, okay, my session ID has expired. Now, please give me another one, because I am authorized to do this. At the end of this process, we just go to the front door JSP page. Then, the final part is the augmented reality part. As I said, we have a context script that is executed in your page, and a background script that runs behind. Why do we need this duality? Because the context script cannot see all the cookies, so it just sends a message to the background page like this. Okay, and the background page can understand, can listen to this kind of messages, get all cookies, call the organizer, get all session cookies function, get all the session, and responds back to the content script saying, okay, this is a valid session ID that you can use. This session ID is then used as in this callback response handler. This function simply get if we are inside the Salesforce ID page. Then, of course, we have a session ID. Then we create a simple div with the smiley faces using this class name, because you can inject also CSS files. And after this, we add a double click listener to open this page. We just jump into this page. Okay, this page simply opens the Swiss knife page, passing three parameters. That is to say, the domain API URL that came from the out process, the session ID, because you need to make REST API calls, and finally the ID of the object. I promise this is the last file I'm going to show you. This is the Swiss knife page. It's a page with a list of fields of a given object. If we go inside the JavaScript file, we just see that we are grabbing the parameters that we have just passed, the session ID, and server URL. We make two simple calls, like get as object. So given the ID and the session ID, I can get all the fields of a given as object. Then describe the as object, because the first call just gives me a field API name value, field API name value. I want also the label and the field type, and I had to make another describe as object call. This way, I can call the draw fields table. The draw fields table, as you can imagine, what does it do? It simply draw a fields table. And now you have all the fields, so you can see all the fields in your object. In your object. So let's get back here. The last thing I want to tell you is that once you have developed your extension, it's really easy to publish this. You just pay a $5 fee to Google Chrome Web Store. You can upload about 20 Chrome extensions. Yes, 20, yes. You pack up your zip code, you push in the store, you just add all the required field for the listing, and after a while, you have the magic, you have a listing working that anyone can download. Sometimes it takes up to maybe half an hour or an hour to make the publish live. So, 7 minutes. What have we learned here? First of all, I hope so. We have learned what a Chrome extension is. I really hope if you didn't know before, now you know what a Chrome extension is, how they are shaped. And the point number 3 is, for me, the most important, and the reason why I'm here. If you have even a small idea, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to create something valuable for your Ohana, your community. And your friends will be really happy to help you, but also to say, hey, man, you did the right thing. And this is what happened to me in this last year. So Salesforce with Chrome extension is pure love. And thank you. If you want to contact me, these are all my details. You can send an email, whatever you want. I will push the slides on the Dreamforce site. And of course, I'll try to write some blog posts to be published on my site, or if Salesforce wants, on the developer site. And thank you. Questions? If you have questions, please use the microphone, because I'm bad in English and I cannot hear from here.
How long did it take you to create your, let's say, first stable version
of Chrome extension?
of your extension?
I would say I made the first publication maybe 25th of September 2016, but I was working on it maybe 6 months earlier. But just because it's a free time project, so if I had more time, maybe the time would be absolutely less, of course. You see, it's not difficult. You just have to know a bit of JavaScript, and you can do whatever you want.
How did you get into the Chrome extensions? Like, did you have any that inspired you to kind of get started?
No. Please, slower.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
How did you originally get into Chrome extensions? Like, how did you learn the first parts, and what inspired you to build it originally?
Well, actually, it was like a game for me. I started just because I wanted to challenge myself. So I've seen a lot of Chrome extension. I said, okay, I want to make a Chrome extension. And after that, I said, okay, I can apply a Chrome extension to Salesforce. And what can I do? A login engine, okay. But also, what's usable? What's important? To understand where you are logged in. because I made a lot of mistakes. So this is the first idea.
Is there a way to do private extensions, or like just for within an organization?
Yep, I can show you from the listing. It is possible. You can keep it private, or sorry, not from here, from here. For example, we can see the organizer. You can keep it private, or you can publish only for certain people, for testers. And this is a simple, where it is? Okay, so we have a public extension and unlisted extension, so you can, only who knows the URL can actually use it.
Do you have feelings about including other libraries like jQuery and things like that? When you're packaging these, are you doing them like references to files hosted,
Okay.
or are you including the library in the?
You are a cool developer, aren't you? Yeah. For example, in yes, you can develop the extension in the way you like, with the way you are aware to. I usually use request.js to packing because you easily have interactions with the sites you are injecting the script. So there's a lot of mess behind, and you have to work on it, but it's experience. Thank you. We have 3 minutes. Someone have a beer or, I don't know. I don't, okay. We can say we're done.